What the technical mathematical term is, but listed data is like test scores. So what we'll do is we'll start with an example, because I have found that the best way to show this is with an example. I forgot this is the only system that I have to actually hit calibrate, sorry. So let's take some numbers, and I'll start with about the lowest number you can start with, and that's 5. N is equal to 5. And we'll take a sample of this class and find out what the average age in this classroom is. Of course, it won't be very high confidence interval, but we'll go diagonally across the room here. How old are you? 17. And you? 28. Miss Scarborough, you don't look 28. You don't take after your daddy. And you?
21.
21. And you?
19.
19. And you?
19.
19. Okay, well y'all didn't help matters much. Okay, there's 5 numbers. All right. First of all, n is odd. Let's write that down. N is odd. That's going to affect the median. If n is odd, it's easy to get the median. If n is even, you have to take the two middle numbers and average them together. Write that down. We'll go over it again. Don't worry. Second of all, you put them in order. That's going to be pretty simple. 17, 19, 19, 21, and 28. Okay? So once you put them in order, just throw these away. So, mean. Mean for a listed set of data is the summation of n, or summation of x over n. So in this case, 17 plus 19. Now, people don't reach for the calculator whenever you got to add. You got 3 20s right here. What's 3 times 20?
60.
60. Then you got a 30 right here. And then you subtract in your head whatever you're missing from 20 and 30. Please don't use a calculator to add 5 numbers. All right. 20, 20, 20. This 20 goes right here, so there's 2 20s right there. There's a 20 right there. That's 60, 59 right in our head. 30 plus 60 is 90. Minus 2 is what? 78, right?
80.
Or 88, whatever. 88 and 87. I got 87. That's those numbers right here, right? Okay. 87 plus 17 is going to be what? 104? Somebody add them up and see what you get. You use your calculator, since this is all-knowing. Twirl it around on your finger like a basketball while you're at it. Add them up. 104. What do we say?
104.
I don't believe it. It's a miracle. People can't even make change at the cash register. 104 over what? 5. Now, 5 will go into 10, people, 2 times. And 5 will not go into 4, so that's 0. And then 5 will go into 40 how many times? And there is your mean. Now, what's next in the list of things that we need to find for a list of data? Median. When you hear the word median, what do you think about?
Middle of the road.
Middle of the road. Middle. Okay? Median. Nobody thinks median, oh, well, that's the middle of the data. Nobody thinks about it. When you hear median, you think about the middle of the road. That thing, that big concrete thing that sometimes you go over when you don't want to go right or left. You go over it. That's a median. It's in the middle of the road. With odd, When n is odd, you get the middle. Alright? When n is even, we're going to do 6 in a minute. We're going to do the same thing with 6, except you take the middle two numbers and you add them together. In this case, the median is what? 19. Look at these two numbers. 20 or 21 and 19. The data is pretty tight. Okay? Not tight as you want it, but it's tight. Why is it tight? Because these two numbers are what? Close together. If the mean is 20.8 and the median come out to be 15, then you're talking about something different. Or vice versa.
So how many apart would you consider to be?
It depends on your data. You just comes with experience doing problems. Proportion. What comes next? Mode. Just remember, MO. Mode is what? The most. Which one shows up the most?
19.
19. Now, when n is odd, these two are calculated or observed? Observed. Remember that. When n is odd, those two numbers are observed. You do not calculate them. So even if you're dumb as a post, you should be able to get those two on some questions. Okay? Even if you say you can't do math, you should be able to get at least those two. Mean, median, mode, range. That's your highest minus your what?
Lowest.
So 28 minus 17. Come on, y'all can do it.
Good job.
So your range is 11. Your highest minus your lowest. Mid-range. Mid-range is very important. Because mid-range in 3.3 or 3.4, whatever the last section is, which we're getting close to. So what does that mean? Test coming up. Oh God, I shouldn't have said that. The handies are going to come out tomorrow. When's the test? What's the test? When's the test? You missed some tests yesterday. Highest plus the lowest divided by what? So that's going to be 28 plus 17, which is what? 45? Somebody check it. 45 divided by 2 is what? 22.5? Mid-range, median, mean. This right here is 23. It tells me that there's something out of whack. A little bit, not much. So mean, median, mode, range, mid-range. And then you have your variance and your standard deviation, which we're going to go over on another screen, because I'm going to pull up a spreadsheet and do all this over and do it in an organized fashion, because there's no way I could do it and write like this and get it all on one board. Okay?
What's the A? Where you get the A from?
Where?
On mid-range? Bottom?
No, that's 2.
Oh, that's 2.
Dang old can't write. Can't erase either. Try that again. That's why I do things on dang old spreadsheet. All right, so everybody good so far? And like I say, most of you don't have a problem with this. So let's take that data and go over to the handy dandy spreadsheet, so y'all can all fuss about it. $17, $19, $19, 21, and 28. And that's X. And let's see. Arial. I like Arial. I told y'all that last time. 12 and centered. All right, so I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna put mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, and standard deviation, variance. Just because you might go into some class one day that wants the variance, you need to know the difference between the two, and the standard deviation. So there's our numbers. And we'll start off with the mean. First of all, I'm going to go n is equal to, I'm going to put 5 right here, because that'll help me out with calculating. First thing I got to do is add all these up, right? So we hit our summation bar, key, whatever, button, and there's that. And then we go over here and it says equals this number divided by, that number. There's my mean.
So when you do that right there, do you have to hold anything to select those two to divide?
No.
Or just click
Usually
on?
when you hit equals, it automatically says, okay, what you want me to add, subtract, multiply, divide.
Okay.
And you just got to pick the cells. Median. Median is observed, so it's going to be equal to this guy right here. Now I'm going to highlight that yeller, and there's the difference between yellow and yeller. That's yeller. And we'll color that one yeller. Since it's observed, I've highlighted. And the mode is these two, and I will do that, and meaning that that's observed also. Range is equal to the highest minus what? Lowest. And you don't put a division symbol in there on top of it. Kind of messes up the order of operations with the computer. Mid-range is equal to parentheses. Why am I adding parentheses?
So it knows.
Because it's got a numerator and a denominator. And despite what some of y'all think, that name y'all's calculators, your calculator cannot discern the order of operations as well as you can. Divided by 2. Okay, now the variance and standard deviation. Well, that one you need to do by hand. Now, in order to do the variance and standard deviation, you have to know the formula. And I'll write the formula up on the board. Formula for the variance and standard deviation, well, it's the same formula, except one has a square root. The variance is equal to x minus x bar, the summation of x minus x bar, quantity squared, over n minus 1. And then the standard deviation is equal to the square root of what? The variance, which is that. So that be under here. So as I told you with the frequency distribution, whenever you're confused, go back to the what? Back to the formula. All right, what do we have to do to get the variance? We have to subtract what from x? What is x bar? X bar is the mean. So we have to subtract the mean from each one of these. So that's going to be called x minus x bar column. So go ahead and make your column in your notes, x minus x bar. X minus x bar equals 17 minus, this equals you, minus 20.8. Now, for those of you that are learning how to do Excel or know how to do Excel, notice I didn't say those that don't know how to do it. Those that don't know how to do it can do it by hand. I'm not telling you have to use Excel. Hit F4. What does that do? It locks that number right here. See, it changed it to a different kind of, it locks it. Excel, if you copy down, it will grab the next number and the next number over here and subtract it. And it'll take this number and subtract this number and this number, subtract this number. So when you copy down, if you hit F4, what will it subtract each time? 20.8. If you don't lock it, it's going to subtract 20.8 on the first one. It's going to subtract 19 on this one. It's going to subtract 19 on this one. It's going to subtract 11 from this one and 22.5 from this one, and so on. So you have to lock it, and that's what I did. I hit F4, box 4, F4, and hit enter. And copy down. There's your numbers. Now, what if I did not hit F4? Well, let me show you what would happen. If you didn't hit F4, it would give you the first number correct. Go ahead and write those 1.8, 1.8, 0.2, and 7.2 down because those are correct. But if you don't hit F4, those are the numbers you're going to get. Why? Well, what's 17 minus 20.8? Negative 3.8. What's 19 minus 19? What's 19 minus 19? What's 21 minus 11? And what's 28 minus 22.5? You see why you have to lock it? So make sure you lock it. So what you do is you just hit F4 whenever you type in the cell with 20.8, hit F4, and it locks it. And then you can copy it down and get the correct numbers. Now, what do you do after? So let's take a red marker or a green marker, meaning we've done it. And what, oops, I don't know why I even tried that. I can't write with this mouse. Okay, we just did x minus x bar. Now what do we need to do? We need to square each one of them, correct? So your next column would be x minus x bar what? Squared. Or totally screw up. There we go. Parentheses, x minus x bar, close parentheses, quantity squared. So that means we're going to take this guy, and what are we going to do? Square it. And copy down. Check your numbers. Okay. And now, let's take a blue marker. We just squared it. So what's left? Huh? Add them all up. Right here. Add them all up. So we're going to take this guy right here and hit the summation button. And I'm going to highlight this purple. Well, I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. We're gonna highlight it, purple. No, let's, no. Let's get a, let's get, there you go. And we'll put circles around it and make it big, bold. Move everything out of the way. That's bold. All right, that number is our what? Starts with an N. Numerator. Okay? That is our numerator. Once you add that up, you've got your numerator. So, right over here, I'm going to put variance is equal to, and then I'm going to put in the top, equals this number. Okay, go back to the formula, and I'll just circle it in red. We've got to get this part right here. And that says what? N minus 1. Now, a lot of you are probably saying, you know, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? That formula is real simple. I'm telling you, there are people that have never seen standard deviation done by hand before. They've just been ramrodded into doing it in their calculator, and they have no earthly idea how to actually find the standard deviation. So don't feel pregnant. It happens to a lot of people. So, equals N, which is up here, minus what? 1. And there's your two numbers. Equals 72 divided by what? 4. There's our variance. And what do we do to get our standard deviation?
Square root.
Take the square root or raise it to the what? 0.5 power or 1/2 power. So equals this guy raised to the 0.5 power. And there's your standard deviation. And of course, once you have the mean and the standard deviation, what can you do? Draw your what?
Bell curve.
Draw your curve. And that's what I'm going to ask you to do every time. So that way when you get to chapter 6, you won't have the deer in the headlights look. No, I can't believe I just did that. There we go. Okay, I'll just erase this.
Why'd you do it to the fifth power?
0.5.
0.5.
That's 0.5 is the square root. Alright, so we'll move down here and equals the mean. And then what are we going to do to the right? I'm asking y'all, that's not rhetorical.
Add.
Add. Add the what?
Standard deviation.
Standard deviation. And add standard deviation. Is our data tight? Well, you're talking about 4 versus 19 and 20. So is it tight? It's pretty tight. Now, if this was a mean of 20 and you had a standard deviation of 11, then your data is not tight. Or a standard deviation of 15 or a standard deviation of 9, then you're talking about sloppy data. Or your numbers are all over the place. Subtract. Now, we've just figured out that anybody that's over 29 years old is unusual. Anybody that's under 12 years old is unusual. But that's only based on how many? 5 people. And that's how you find your mean and your standard deviation. Yes, you can find it on your calculator in half the time. But what are you finding? Remember, y'all didn't even know what the average was. Y'all could not tell me what the definition of the average was. It's the mean. Yeah, but it's not what the definition is. Remember I showed you, the definition of the average is the number that represents no what? Variance. And none of you could tell me that. Oh, I could. Shut up. You didn't say nothing. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to teach you the mechanics behind it. I'm not trying to teach you theory. I'm not trying to teach you stuff that you'll never use. I'm just trying to teach you the mechanics behind the calculator. Because I know what's happened to a lot of you. Some teachers have taken the calculator and bashed you over the head with it, and you had to use it or you couldn't pass the class. Some of you, that might have happened. Some of you, it may not have. But the whole point is, I meet a lot of you. I see a lot of you, especially in Walmart or Target or Best Buy. I'll give you 6 cents and watch your head explode. Okay? Now, we're going to take this same data and we're going to add one more number to it. And then we're going to add, eventually, I'm going to do the whole class. We're not going to do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to 30. We're not going to do that. I'm going to do 6, 7, and 8. And then we're going to move on to like 30 and let you see the numbers, how different it acts. So we're going to take these numbers, and I'm just going to copy all of this. So I'm going to copy all of this. Control C. And am I trying to teach y'all something here? Yeah. Control C. I move down. Give yourself plenty of space. Don't put it right on top of each other. Put it right here. Control V. Oops. Finger slip. Oops. Control V. Hold on a minute. Control C. Control V. We're going to change this to 6. Okay? And we're going to add, I don't know, I'm just going to pick somebody. Let's see, we ended with you, so I'm going to jump over to Carolina sweatshirt, background. 18. And we're going to add, we're going to insert a row right here. Dang old insert. Dang old, well, no, we're not going to insert. Let me insert back here. 18 is going to go right here. Insert. 18 goes right there. Okay, now we got to fill in all those spots that we have filled in. So I'm just going to copy this down there. And we got to check everything because now the mean is going to be the average of those two numbers because n is what? 6. It's an even number. So let's just start from the beginning. So I'm going to hit this guy equals the summation, which is this. We've got to check that. Hit summation right here. And let's check to make sure. It should automatically do it. It did. And divide by, let's check, equals this divided by that. And that's correct. And then let's go over here and check equals this number. I don't know why it's doing that. Equals, what is that, C27? C27 minus this guy is F4 and enter. And y'all check my math, make sure that's correct. And there's your numbers there. And of course that 3 squared is 9, so that's about right. 2 squared is 4, so that's about right. 1 squared is 1. 1 squared is 1. 0.66, that's 0.7, so that'd be 49, so that's about right. And that's close to 8, that'd be around a little less than 64, so that's about right. And you add all those up, and that's that. Let's check our median. That's these two numbers, so that's going to be, let me highlight these two numbers yellow. And then equals, parentheses, add the two numbers up, and divide by what? Now, people are they always going to be the same? No. And yes, I know the average of 19 plus 19 is 19. I know that. Okay? I got a degree in everything. I know somebody was out there. I can't believe he's adding those two up. I did it because you need to see how to find that mean when the two numbers are different. All right? Okay, let me move this up. Control X, Control V. All right, mode. Mode again is 19. It's observed, so it's not a big deal. Range. Let's see if the range changed. This guy, mine didn't, because the minimum and the maximum did not change. If the min and max don't change, then the range and the mid-range don't change. All right, variance, we checked all that. So, and there, you should have, somebody check these numbers right here, make sure. I think that's standard deviation changed to what? 4.0, pretty much. So what did the standard deviation do?
Got smaller.
Why? We added another number.
Because the data's tighter,
Why?
because you got more numbers.
Tell me why. Tell me why. That's not what I'm looking for, but you're on the right track. Look at the numbers. Why did adding Mr. Carolina back there, why did that make the numbers tighter? It's adding another number.
Giving you more information to work with, so it's such a small.
It's giving me more information, yes, but that's not what I'm looking for. Look at the numbers.
The numbers are close together.
They're closer. Mr. Carolina, what's your last name? I'm sorry.
Freeman.
Huh?
Freeman.
Freeman. Mr. Freeman's number added another number that was closer in respect to what? The other numbers that we had. What if Mr. Freeman was 23? What would that have done to the standard deviation?
Made it bigger.
Made it bigger. Standard deviation is a measure of the V word. What? Variance. You getting it? Calculator won't show you that. Just want to tell you. All right, so let's add a nerd. What do you mean add a nerd? Another one, depending on where you're from. Another one. So we're going to Control C. Oops, sorry. Didn't copy.